Hi, I'm Bill Bronchick, and in this video I'd like to talk about a topic that I often get a question about, which is how do I make money right now in real estate? I can't wait till I'm retired, I can't wait a year, I can't even wait 3 or 4 months, I need money like tomorrow. Well, maybe tomorrow is a little too optimistic, but certainly there are some techniques that you can utilize in today's market to make yourself, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 in the next month or so. All right, so what I've come up with is 7 ways to make $7,000 in the next 30 days. Here's number 1. Wholesale a fixer-upper property. So what you're looking for is a property that's a fixer-upper that you can get under contract and then assign it to another investor who's then going to fix it and resell it to an end user. Now, what most people do is they go on the MLS, they look at bank-owned properties, they look at HUD properties, and they have very little success because it's very competitive in that realm, and you got real estate agents involved, the real estate brokers, and it's just a very competitive market, low-yielding results. You try to lowball it, and you don't get anywhere. Well, welcome to the crowd. Welcome to reality. You can't really do it that way in today's market. What you have to do is go after the for sale by owner category. You have to find properties that are for sale by owner, estates, where people own properties potentially free and clear. People have inherited property recently. So you're looking for people who have a lot of equity and have a fixer-upper property that they want to get rid of. Okay. Number 2, don't just limit yourself to wholesaling fixer-uppers, wholesaling rentals. I often ask people in my seminars, I say, show of hands, how many people are fixer-upper investors? Certain number raise their hand. I ask how many people are landlords, rent out properties. Much more people raise their hands. And the reason is because in today's market, buying, holding, and renting is a very lucrative field. And the point is, if you're going to wholesale properties, why just limit yourself to your back-end buyer being just a fixer-upper investor when there's so many more landlords out there that you can flip to? So in this realm, you can look at properties that are on the MLS. And you're looking at it with a different set of eyeballs. When you walk into a house that's a bank-owned property, it needs 30, 40 grand worth of work, and you do the numbers, it's really hard to get a great deal. But when you look at a house from the standpoint of, would this make a great rental with 7, 8, or 10 grand, just some carpet, paint, appliances, landscaping, and so forth, then you can make a higher offer than other people would be making who are thinking fix and flip and want to get it much cheaper. Get that under contract, do the math, show to other investors who are landlords why this is a good position rental property, and wholesale it that way. You'll find a lot more success. Okay, let's move on. Number 3, the sandwich lease option. This is one of my favorite techniques, and it works extremely well in today's market. This is a scenario where you find a for sale by owner, or maybe even a for rent by owner, or even better if you find an ad that says for sale or rent. That's really right up your alley. You won't find too many people that advertise lease with option, and if you do, that's probably a guy like me. So you don't want to call those ads. You want to call the ads that say for sale or rent. And then you're going to sign up a deal where you're going to lease the property under a master lease at below market rent, and you get an option to buy it, 10, 15, 20% below market. You don't have to steal it. You just get a reasonable price. And then what you're going to do, once you have that sandwich lease option locked up on the front end, you're going to sandwich it by subletting to a tenant at market rent, creating a spread, and then sell it to him, give him the option to buy at market price or even a little bit higher. When your tenant is ready to exercise his option, he's going to come to you and say it's time to buy, and then you go to the owner and buy from them at a below market price and sell to your tenant at or a little bit above market. And again, we don't need a huge spread here. If you got the property option at, let's say, 10% below market, and you sold the property at next year's price at 5% above the current value, that's a 15% equity spread. And most fix and flippers don't even get 15%. So this is a pretty good strategy for today's market, particularly where things are going up, and on the back end you can mark it up a little bit. The 4th one is buying a property subject to the existing loan and then lease optioning it out. So instead of on the front end here just leasing it, you're going to get the seller to deed you the property subject to the existing loan and then lease option it out as I described on the back end. Now, there's a lot of intricacies involved here. You can read some of my other articles and videos and get my creative financing course and find more about buying subject to, but in essence you're buying the property versus leasing the property. Number 5, the Rap Rewrap. So, similar to a subject to, what you want to do is essentially take advantage of the seller's low payment. So let's say a seller has a property that's worth $200 and they owe $185, not a lot of equity there, but they've got a really low interest loan at like 4 or 4.25%. What you do is you mirror that payment, you wrap it, and then you're going to make payments to the seller that mirror his payment, and then you're going to sell it again on a rewrap it at, let's say, $210,000, small down payment, and mark the interest rate up there to 5, 5.5, 6%. And the spread there between the two equity positions plus the interest rate spread is an enormous monthly cash flow. Similar to a sandwich lease option, but you're not leasing. You're buying and then reselling the property. Number 6, the mobile home flip. So this is a scenario where you find someone who's got a mobile home and you're going to buy it cheap and get it under contract, and not yet buy it, but get it under contract, and then find someone who wants to buy it from you at a higher price. And much easier to negotiate these things because when a seller has a home in a park, often it's too expensive to move it, and he knows that. So even though it might be worth theoretically 10 grand, you can offer them 4 or 5 because it's not feasible for them to move it, and they're going to be willing to negotiate on the price. And then you sell it to another investor who can then do something with it, such as my 7th technique: buy a mobile home, sell on terms, and then sell the note. So this is sort of a combination of the Rap Rewrap or the buy subject to. What you do is you buy the mobile home for cash. Let's say that $10,000 mobile home, you buy it for $4,000 cash. And then you turn around, you sell it for $10,000 with $1,000 down and $300 a month at, let's say, 6% interest. It's an enormous cash flow. Now, we said we wanted cash now, so what you do is you get that $1,000 down, and then you turn around and sell that note, the $9,000 note, to an investor, let's say, for $6,000, which is going to net you 7, the 6 plus the 1 minus the 4 you paid, so you're walking away at a closing with about $3,000 in your pocket, and this can be done relatively quickly. Now, I want to really advise you to be familiar with the owner financing rules, the Dodd-Frank, the SAFE Act, and Truth in Lending and things like that, all the legal ins and outs of owner financing before you attempt these. But this is just a sort of a flavor of the 7 different techniques that you can use right away in the next month or so to generate a nice chunk of cash. This is Bill Bronchick, and let me know what kind of success you have with these 7 techniques.